everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News, and I'm very pleased to have with me Ranjan Chauhan, who is with New Channel Marketing. Ranjan, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So you took a little bit of a hiatus from our industry, and you were kind of doing something else, and now you're with the good people of New Channel Marketing. What's New Channel Marketing?
New Channel Marketing is an agency to help vendors, MSPs, partners, resellers really grow their business by positioning them with their end customers, working with vendors to target these resellers, and really develop and reach your audiences where they are and deliver the right message to the right person at the right time.
So I'm excited to be doing this podcast because you have something new to say to our readers. Because like forever and on this podcast and in symposiums and webinars and so on, they've all been told sales is over here and marketing is over there, and they must not even be touching.
Yeah.
Right? And you kind of disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like space and time. No, I mean, it's space-time, right? It's together. We're two parts of one coin. And it's hard. I've been a marketer. I've been a salesperson, a quota-carrying sales rep, and a marketer. And there were times when I would blame marketing for poor quality leads. And now as a marketer, I get frustrated with sales for not following up. I think the real solution is that we really share the same goal. My sole purpose as a marketer is to generate revenue or generate pipeline for sales to allow them to generate revenue for the company. And I think by working together, identifying the target accounts, knowing and understanding that purchase decisions are made by committee, not by a single individual, together we can work to market and reach that right committee. So that way you can expand the deal, improve sales velocity, and reduce any kind of leaky funnel situation that you might have. And more important in the SaaS world, to retain those customers over time.
So you've lived and smelt and felt the experience of being a quota salesperson.
Oh yeah, where it's the end of the quarter and your boss is like, you need to make this, or I need to give that chair to someone else.
Right. And that's a very difficult environment. That's very interesting
hard
hill.
Yeah.
And it's natural, right, that you become a little bit ruthless in a way. I mean, I'm not saying your character is challenged, but
I get it.
But people do interesting things. And I wonder if that system, I won't challenge the system for a moment. I wonder if that system throws up, if you will, metrics or information which is disorienting to management, because the people inside that system are bound, you just said it, to blame other people for stalled sales.
Yeah, I mean, I think it leads to sandbagging, right? That salespeople will constantly do. Right. I don't know, the panic around getting ink or purchase a PO signed at midnight on Christmas, right? I remember those days.
Yeah.
Right. And they continue. And look, I'm going to tell you something. I think at the places I've worked, some of the salespeople I've met are the most brilliant people I have ever met. I'll say it again. Those salespeople are some of the most brilliant people I have ever met. But those quotas can really affect behavior. And it can be a good thing sometimes, and it can be a bad thing. And I think, we're on the same team, and sales and marketing can work together. And I want to see that salesperson hit their quota. Right. And I want to be a part of that. And I want to make sure that they can do that and remove any obstacles that I can, or provide the right air cover for them that I can.
So before we get into let's start with the vision. It seems like, having lived these different lives, you've worked at what sounds like really a large company.
Yeah.
In different organizations. What's your vision? What are you hoping people will achieve?
Yeah, I want to see the wall between sales and marketing come down. Right. I almost imagine that they would, maybe not organizationally, officially, in the HR way, but they would essentially be a part of the same team. They would identify the accounts and the people that will help them close business, identify any of the blockers to closing those deals or that business, and then go after them. Marketing will do its part, develop the right creative assets, deliver the right messaging, but sales will help provide that feedback, help them explain where the gaps are. Hey, we know these people here, but the other influencers, the CFO, could be the CISO, could be legal and compliance, we may have gaps there, and those people may either kill the deal or slow the deal down. And we want to make sure that we reach them and make sure that they're involved. Because they could silently kill the deal and us not even know, or find out at the last minute.
So in organizations that have gone the route that you're describing with very difficult to achieve quotas,
yeah,
and they really are enforced and stuff, being in the marketing department is a little bit of an enclave, right? You're sort of in the bunker. You're a little bit sheltered from the impact of a bad quarter, maybe not forever.
Yeah.
You're sort of suggesting that there needs to be a whole ownership of outcome as opposed to, or is that what you're suggesting?
Kind of, I guess it's, to use a development word, it's kind of like a scrum, right?
Okay,
together,
right?
Maybe that's kind of a good analogy. I think this idea that I'm referring to isn't new, right? It's not something that you said, hey, we need to be a team. But I think the latest work around account-based marketing has really kind of solidified all of that work. And I've seen it. I've seen it myself. I've done it myself. I've seen sales deals that could have taken traditionally 9 to 12 months being closed within 30 to 60 days, right? I've seen people using buying signals and intent data in order to identify and market to those particular individuals and then closing that deal right away, right? So I've actually personally experienced it. And I know by working with other ABM agencies and vendors, we've seen that this has worked. And the data says it, right? When marketing and sales work together, we see improvement in revenue, we see time to close increase, and we see leaky funnels tend to go away.
So I'm wondering, how this sort of plays out in the actual MSP. If an MSP says, okay, I'm going to sign up with new channel marketing, I'm signing on, this is a great vision. So how does this actually play out? How do you get these departments and organizations to work together?
Yeah, I think the solution will vary company to company. The idea will be to again, focus and have shared skin in the game. So both the marketing team and the sales team will have to be obviously driven by pipeline and by revenue. So today, one group, the sales team, is already motivated to close deals and is compensated by that. Maybe you don't want to eat into your margins and now compensating your marketing team based on revenue as well. Although I don't think that that's a bad idea, right? I think it's okay to go ahead and have them be incentivized that way. But then success should not be measured for the marketing team by clicks and views and some of the vanity metrics we do today. Pipeline and lift and growth become the key success indicators for that marketing team. So in order for that marketer to be reviewed and have a positive review that year, they have to hit certain goals around growth, around lift metrics, right? Did we grow pipeline from what it was the year before or quarter to quarter? So it'll vary from organization, but lift metrics become really important, and making sure everyone is evaluated and measured through something very similar, either pipeline or revenue.
And those lift metrics is how you bring people together. They start to own the project together.
I think lift metrics give you something more real outside of page views, which could be inflated and misleading and give you a lot of false positives, right? I think that solves one of the main problems of sales going back to marketing and saying, hey, the lead that you send over, the quote unquote lead that you sent over isn't really good, right? It's hey, this is new. And yes, this is the person I've been waiting for, right? Because you had that conversation between sales and marketing. We knew that there was a gap. So rather than marketing spending resources on marketing to people that we already have a relationship with, they're now focusing on growth and where those gaps are. So maybe even territories or patches could vary, right? Based upon that approach. But again, if you go back to saying, hey, as a business coming from leadership, we know the top 100 logos that we need to close this year, or maybe we need to close 10 of the additional business units within that logo. Once there's agreement on that, then everybody knows what the goal is. Then it's just go forward and go after that goal.
Ranjan, I got to ask, because you've lived these different lives, right? You got one group of people, it's famine, feast.
Yeah.
You have another group, they're a little insulated from that. They're living on salary, it's more stable.
A cushy.
How do you bring how does the mechanics of this even work?
Yeah, I still think it goes back to measuring them by success, right? I think ultimately, look, salespeople need to be compensated well because ultimately they are accountable.
Right.
They're accountable and responsible for a deal to close it for closing, and their job depends on it. Their livelihood depends on it. So I think that based on the amount of risk that they take should be rewarded accordingly. Now, I think the problem is what you're saying. You know, marketing isn't always incentivized that way or motivated that way. So it becomes, hey, how pretty is my asset? Hey, look, we had 100,000 page views. Or look, I'm working with this really cool agency. All important things, right? All very important and valuable things. But then that does kind of create this world within a marketing organization that becomes ultimately important when the prize is really building pipeline, closing deals, acquiring new customers, land and expand, right? Depending on what the business is and what's happening, what the goals are of the business.
This is an amazing topic. You're almost the first person to say, I think this all should be one. Where can we learn more?
Too bad.
Yeah, I know. We need to have more time and more discussion. Where can I learn more about new channel marketing?
Well, you can find us on the internet at New Channel Marketing. You're always welcome to look me up on LinkedIn and connect with me. You can also send me an email at Ranjan, RANJUNC, as in cat, all one word, at newchannelmarketing.com.
Ranjan, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thank you.